Hello, IELTS students around the world. Welcome to today's class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest, Hungary, capital of. I hope everybody's doing great. Hi, Life Hacker. Hi, Simran Singh. Simran, real quick, your question's good. Can you improve speaking 5.5 to 6 or 6.5 in 15 days? Simran, I think you can, especially if you scored over 6.5 in other parts. Send me an email. I will show you my email address in a second. You need to identify your weaknesses in your writing and in your speaking ASAP, like today or tomorrow, and then focus on those, okay? So send me an email. Hi, Rod1. Hi, Sarah. Hi, everybody. All right, today we are looking at an IELTS Task 1 bar graph. Materials, as always, come from our websites for academic IELTS. Join us at aehelp.com. And if you're learning for general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com, where we have 6 original practice exams with full audio for reading, speaking, and listening. If you want to just buy our books, you can do that on Amazon. For academic IELTS books, search for AE Helps Academic IELTS. For general IELTS books, search for GE Helps General IELTS. If you have questions about our products or about IELTS, always happy to help. Send an email to adrian@aehelp.com. All right. Again, there's writing and speaking help available on our websites. Simran, I really highly suggest spending a couple dollars on that, figuring out where your weaknesses are, especially with such a short time frame. All right, live class schedules are Central European time, 15 to 16 o'clock. Today, writing task 1, tomorrow, speaking part 3, and then on Saturday will be a members chat only. Of course, everybody can watch, but if you want to chat and participate, you need to be a member. Members get access to our practice exams. They get to request classes, and they can also get access to some of our special videos. So definitely check that out. All right. No classes on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Let's look at writing task 1. So here we go. Writing task 1. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. So when you get to the writing part of IELTS, it is made up of 2 tasks. Writing is after the listening and the reading. So your brain might be getting a little bit tired by this time. It's really important that you have good strategies, you have good knowledge. So even if your brain's getting a bit exhausted from all the listening, all the reading, you can get a good score in your writing. Spend 20 minutes on task 1. Don't spend any more. Check the time. Okay, so know how long 20 minutes is. Make sure you save 40 minutes for task 2. It's minimum 150 words. A lot of times when students see a 180 or 200 word task 1, they go, oh, but it's more than 150 words. That's okay. All right. Hi, Naveen. Good to see a member in the chat. It's minimum 150 words. So to get task completion, it means to get a full score for finishing the task, you have to have at least 150 words. And that should be no problem as long as you know what you're doing. Again, remember, quality is more important than quantity. So 130 words of really clean writing will probably get you a better score than 180 words of bad writing. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see another member jumping in. All right, so again, task 1 question. The chart below shows book sales of a publishing company in 6 different store branches in 2 years. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So you just read this question. You're in your IELTS exam. What do you do next? What is your next step? So let's see how many students are paying attention to these classes. Okay, Suxing says, well, your first step should be paraphrase that question. Jubilant agrees. Faruza agrees. Murasa agrees. So a lot of agreement with the students. That's good. Yeah, you should paraphrase and you should do something more. So you should have a quick look at the graph, okay? So let's do that, and paraphrasing is going to happen here, so a lot of you are correct. So the title here, it's a long title, Sales of Books in Thousands Numbers from 6 branches, branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of a publishing company in 2000 and 2001. We look at the y-axis. Y-axis goes from 0 to 120 with intervals of 10. And then on the x-axis, we have the branches, branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then here, we have the red and blue graph. And the blue is showing 2000, and the red is showing 2001. Now, you're not going to have red and blue on IELTS. They don't use colors. They keep it cheaper than that. It's black and white, so you'll probably see a gray and a black, or a white and a gray, something like that, okay? So pay attention to that. Okay, so now we can paraphrase. But do remember, when you're doing your paraphrasing of the question, give detail, okay? Give more detail. So let's see students doing that, okay? Jubilant, you're right. We are going to identify the main features here and comparisons in a minute before we write the analysis in the body. But for the overview, let's paraphrase. So let's paraphrase the question and give some more detail. Now, usually, and this is very common, where you can give more detail is the word chart, okay? So instead of chart, you can write bar graph. Okay, that's more detailed than just chart. Book sales of a publishing company in 6 different store branches. Okay, book sales, we can add a number here in tens of thousands. All right, so we can make a little bit of a more detail there. Different store branches, that's fine, in 2 years. Here we can put a comma and we can add 2000 and 2001. So we can detail those years. All right, so that's where you can paraphrase and give more detail. So that's what you should do. Okay, paraphrase that question and give those details. Let's do that together. Here we go. So this bar chart shows the sales of tens of thousands of books by a certain publishing company in the years 2000 and 2001. All right, so that is the paraphrase with the details. Hopefully you got something similar, all right? You should not be analyzing yet. I saw a student starting to analyze the information. Jubilant says, the given bar graph illustrates the auction of books by a distributing company from 6 different branches, branches 1 to 6, yeah, or B1 to 6. You don't need to list them all, Jubilant. During 2 consecutive years, very nice use of the word consecutive, Jubilant, 2000 and 2001. Good. Dat Mayo, the provided bar chart illustrates the revenue. It's not the revenue, but it's the volume of sales. Okay, because it's not the dollar figures, but we're actually looking at the number of books, Mayo. So careful to be accurate with the information. So the number of sales from 6 different branches, not between 2000 and 2001. It doesn't give us that number. It just gives us the number for those 2 years. So in 2000 and 2001, which means 2000 January to December, 2001 January to December. Between 2000 and 2001 would be 2000 January to December only. So really careful, Dat Mayo, not to make mistakes with the actual information. You will lose scores. It's an academic test. You don't just lose marks for grammar or spelling or English, you lose marks for bad information. So careful, Mayo. Okay. Sarah MKS says, the bar graph illustrates the number of books sold in 6 different shops of a publishing company in the years 2000 and 2001. Again, girls and guys, careful with words like between and till. Those are for line graphs, not for bar graphs. Keep that separate. All right, are we done with our overview? Not really. We should add some more information. So for the second piece of information for the overview, to get a nice high band score, you need to give the most obvious information. Okay, so when you're looking at this bar graph as an expert, what is most clear about it? What do you notice the most? Think about it this way, what jumps out at your face? So what it's like, bam, it's in your face, okay? So when we look here at this graph, what is the most obvious? What is the piece of information that just pops into our face right away and we can say, wow, that's clearly something that we can state in the overview as a general piece of quality information? So what is the most obvious? Let's see. Highest and lowest, maybe not. That's more detailed. Lovely Princess. I think that there's... okay, Ancilla, very good. I don't know how many of you caught Ancilla's response there, but she had the best response. She said, hey, look, the red ones are generally higher. So red is higher, red is higher, red is higher, red is higher, red is higher. So the piece of information, this is the only one that's shorter. The piece of information that really jumps out is 5 out of 6 of these branches had better sales in 2001 than in 2000. So it's clear that sales increased. So very good, Ancilla. That is absolutely one piece of good information. And we can see that all of these bookstores sold over 60,000 books in any given year. Okay, so if you're really going for that band 9 score, that's the kind of analysis that you need to take a look at. Okay. All right. Trang, yes, I can slow my speech a bit. Am I talking a little bit too fast? Is anybody else feeling that way? I can slow down a bit for sure. Okay, so here we can say, at first glance, it is evident that all of the branches sold over 60,000, and you can use the abbreviation for 1,000, which is a capital letter K, okay, so that you're not wasting time on that. Hi, Baljeet, good to see you in class, all right? So at first glance, it is evident that all of the branches sold over 60,000 books in either year. It's just 2, so we can use the word either. In either year. Anybody saying that I'm speaking too fast? No, it looks like most people are okay with my speed. In either year. And it can also be stated that 5 of 6 branches performed better in 2001 than 2000. All right. So if you get all that into your overview, you are definitely on the right path to a nice high IELTS band score. So this bar chart shows the sales of tens of thousands of books by a certain publishing company in the years 2000 and 2001. At first glance, it is evident that all of the branches sold over 60,000 books in either year, and it can also be stated that 5 of 6 branches performed better in 2001 than 2000, okay? That will definitely earn you a nice high score for your overview, okay? Yeah, no, Sarah MKS is saying, can I use the number 60,000? Yeah, you can. If you use the number 60,000, just separate it with the comma before those 3 digits. So write it like this, okay? So don't just write it as 4 consecutive zeros, but put a comma in the, especially the British like to see that in there, okay? So, but that's fine. Easiest way, 60K if it's a round number, okay? I would do it like that. It's more simple, it looks better, takes less time. So I would use that. All right, so great, we have our overview. So what do we do next? What do we do now? And I think Jubilant says, you said this before, yeah, analyze it. Look at the chart and rank order your points of comparison, okay? So rank or order your points of comparison. It means from your most obvious, so your number 1 to your number 5. You need about 5-6 points for your analyses. Your analyses should be about 100 words, okay? So if you have 6 points, average sentence is going to be about 15-16 words. You're going to get about 100 words, all right? So you need to have about 6 points. What should be my point number 1? Okay, what makes sense for my point number 1? Let's see how, it does matter here, students, how clever you are at identifying your points. So, Amrita Paul says, branch 1 looks pretty interesting. Naveen says the red dominates. We already said that in our overview, Naveen. We said that 2001 was a better performing year. Absolutely. Okay, so some of you are saying, well, branch 3 had the most sales. Yeah, absolutely. So branch 3 had the most sales in 2001 and, relatively speaking, had the most sales in 2000 as well. So that would be my point number 1, okay? So that has the highest sales in both years. Okay, what could be my next point? What would be a good second point? Okay, so all of you who are thinking, you know, there are different ways, ladies and gents. I'm not saying that I have the one and only approach to this, but I do believe I have a very logical approach, so I would take this as number 1. What should we take as number 2? Nali says, let's take the lowest sales. I wouldn't. You could, but I wouldn't do that, Nali. I wouldn't take the lowest sales. What would I do? Murasa says, well, let's have a look at branch number 1 because they also have high sales. That's true, but I would be looking at something else, okay? So indeed, branch number 1 has very high sales, but there's something else that's interesting about branch number 1. What is that? There we go, Naveen. Very clever. Look at Naveen's comment there. And Mohit just before Naveen. I see that too. It's the difference, right? So if you look at this difference, the change, then the greatest change between 2000 and 2001, you can see the years here, is for branch number 1. So as a businessman, yeah, it's really exciting to see that branch 3 has some nice high sales, but it's perhaps even more exciting to see that here we have the biggest difference. So not only is it second in sales, but it also has the greatest increase from 2000 to 2001 of 25,000 books. Okay, so that's definitely a very interesting point for us, that it's not just second, but it's the biggest sales difference. Okay, what should I look at third? And one good way to look at these bar graphs, of course, you're looking at differences, is to think, if I'm a businessman, if I'm the CEO of this publishing company that's distributing to these bookstores, what are the key data? What are the trends that I'm looking for? Okay. So now some of you are saying, okay, well now maybe it's time to look at branch number 2. Pachu Yadav says, well, maybe, okay, we've looked at the highest sales, we've looked at the biggest difference. Maybe we should look now at the lowest sales. And I think if we're businessmen and businesswomen, then we are probably going to look at these because we want to figure out what's going on here. Why is this happening? Should we close this store? What should we do with it? Now, in IELTS, you can't make assumptions and suggestions, so you can't say, let's just close branch number 2. Okay, don't do that. But you're just reporting. So this is number 3. It is the only one where there's a decrease from 2000 to 2001 of 10,000 books, and it's the lowest. Okay, so not only is it the lowest in sales, but it's also the only one which shows a decrease in book sales between 2000 and 2001. All right, so we have our point number 3 here. Now, point number 4 and 5, let's keep it simple. These are the most important, okay? So this is a very important point. This is a very important point. You need to spend time, think about these, use good English, use good words to compare, contrast, really focus on some good writing, and you'll get a nice high band score. If you run out of time and you just write a quick summary after these 3 points, or even if you just write one really quick sentence like the other 3 shops did okay and there wasn't much change, you'll still get a very good score. Okay? But if you're going for that band 9, then you'll probably want to talk about either or. So here, ladies and gents, I don't think it really matters which one you put as number 4. You could say that these performed similarly, although branch 4 had slightly higher sales in the first year, and this store gained equal sales in 2001. So you could compare these two for point number 4. And then you could say this one for point number 5, or you could switch these two up. So you could say for number 4, the second lowest performing store was branch number 6. However, this store did show a growth in sales from 2000 to 2001. And then you could talk about this one. So it doesn't really matter which one you're going to do for 4 and 5 here. I would just make sure that I compare these two for point number 4. It's an interesting similarity and difference between branch 4 and 5. Similarity is the same sales in 2001, and the difference is the sales in 2000, okay? Does that make sense for everybody? Bishwa says, go slow. I think you're losing me. Does that make sense? Baljit says, yeah, that made sense. Marasa says, yeah, that's clear. All right, I'm seeing a lot of yeses, so let's write the body paragraph. Let's do that together. Okay, so point number 1, let's knock that off. Let's start with the highest sales in branch 3. Okay, so I think everybody can now remember these points. We saw them. In the IELTS, you'll of course have these on your paper, so go nice step by step in sequence. We took a few minutes to do the planning here, but when you practice these, girls and guys, at home, you should be able to do this very quickly. You should be able to go number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, okay? So you think I'm crazy to expect you to go that quickly, but yes, I do, okay? As high school graduates, as students preparing for university, a simple bar graph like this, you should be able to do it almost as fast, if not as fast as I just did, okay? If you can't, practice, all right? Because in university, you will be looking at graphs and charts that are much more complicated than these. And you will see them in your exams, and you're not going to have much more time to analyze them or write about them. So careful, okay? All right. Let's write about point number 1, which is branch 3, 110,000 books. Okay, so it's sales in thousands of books. So this is 110,000 books here, 95,000 books there. Okay, let's do that together. All right, so here's our overview. So now we are going for the body paragraph. Let's do it. All right. And write these sentences. So don't just copy what I'm doing or don't just look at what I'm doing, but I challenge you, write the sentences on your own, write them into the chat, and if there's some mistakes, I'll correct them. Okay, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. All right? So here we go. Body and analysis. At deeper analysis, of the bar graph, it is clear that the highest sales, number of sales, were in branch, and you can use capital because you can call it the name of this particular branch. So branch 3. And if you see the number 3 being used in the graph, you can use it in your writing in this case as well. Otherwise, write the word 3, okay? So in branch 3, in both years at 95,000 and 110,000 respectively. Now you'll see why I don't write the zeros, because I would be writing way too many zeros in this case. Okay, so that's my first point, all right? Now with point number 2, let's see if anybody wrote something up for this one. Murasa says, by observing the bar graph in more detail, it is clear that, and then finish with this one, Murasa, absolutely. Okay. Baljit, the highest number of sales came from branch 3 at, yeah, and that's good too, Baljit. So there's different, as we say in English, it's kind of a weird idiom, but we say there's more than one way to skin a cat, which means there's more than one correct way to do something. I don't know where the saying comes from, don't ask me. But you have some good writing there, ladies and gents. So I'm seeing some really nice sentences come up, okay? Isaac says the above graph indicates. Isaac, don't refer to the location of the graph on the paper. It's just weird and unnecessary. So just simply say the bar graph indicates that branch 3 recorded the highest sales. Don't say the above or the below graph. That's kind of weird. Okay, don't do that. All right, so here we go with the next one. So now I'm going on to point 2. Suk, you can absolutely do that. So you can say to begin with, we can pinpoint that the maximum number of sales were in branch 3 in the years at 95K and 110K. Okay, that's good too. All right, let's have a look at the second point here, which is this comparison here. And now I would just start off with a contrast, because it's really important for high band scores in IELTS, task 1, to have good contrasts and comparisons in the data or in the information. So here, I would start with a however, okay? So, however, the greatest change between the 2 years was in branch 1 with an increase of 25,000 more books sold in 2001. Also, this branch recorded the second highest sales in each year overall. Okay? And you don't need to write all the numbers, so you don't need to state that it's 105,000 and 80,000. If you say it recorded the second highest sales in each year, which is not actually true, I have to be careful here because I just realized this is 80 and 85. Okay, so I might want to correct that to in 2001. Also, this branch recorded the second highest sales in 2001. So again, IELTS people, they're hard markers. If you make a mistake like that, they will catch you. Okay. Now, if I catch myself on that mistake during the IELTS exam, I would just cross that out and nicely above it write in this correct information to correct it. Okay. Let's see what you wrote down for this. So Baljit says, branch 1 comparative to branch 3 sold just 5,000 less books in the year 2001. That's interesting too, Baljit, but the actual change in sales, so the increase in sales, is more interesting. The increase of 25,000. Janatul Naim Nipa says, there was, however, a rapid increase of 25,000 sales at branch 1, which was the greatest overall change compared to the other branches. So Janatul, you need to finish that sentence to make it clear and to make sure that you're getting points for that. So Pachu Yadav says, by contrast, sales differences in 200 is branch 1. So you don't want to do branch B1 because B refers to branch. 25,000 more than that of 2001. Pachu, you have the right idea, but you have some grammar mistakes there that make it very awkward, and you wouldn't be getting a lot of points for that. Okay. All right. Lovely Princess says, meanwhile, the dramatic increase, just a second, I'll turn us back on here. Now switched cameras, it still turns off, okay. All right, here we go. Just give me a second to get the right scaling here. I'm trying a different camera for us today to see if that fixes the situation of this 30-minute shutoff, but it seems like it's in the software somewhere. So just give me a moment to get our screen back. It lets you think about the next part a little bit more and how we're going to do that. All right, here we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Harmeet, if you're planning to go to university in an English-speaking country, then definitely you need to be able to think quickly and write well in English. You will be challenged to think this well and to write this well in English in your exams in colleges and universities, whether in Canada or US. So if you can't do it on the IELTS, you will have trouble in your classes as well, okay? That's why they put these questions in. So yes, you do need to master analyzing and thinking quickly, okay? All right, let's look for point number 3 now. So point number 3, of course, is with branch 2. You remember that with branch 2, it's the only one that had a decrease in sales and also recorded the lowest number of sales. So let's talk about that, okay? So try that one. By the way, good job so far, students. I know you're putting your best foot forward and you're really trying your best to create good sentences here. Keep trying, okay? That's how you learn. We all learn through our mistakes. So don't worry about making mistakes. Just do it. So point number 3. Next, by observing the data for branch 2, it is obvious that it not only had the lowest sales of all stores, but also is the only branch to experience a decrease in sales from 2000 to 2001. Okay, so here I'm recording that information, and notice I'm using this correlative conjunction, so that's also helping me to get a good score. So using not only, but also. All right, notice I'm using the not only, but also. There we go. Not only, but also. This is a correlative conjunction that emphasizes my observation, okay? And that will help my band score again to improve, okay? So using not just subordinating and coordinating conjunctions, but these correlative conjunctions. Correlative conjunctions are these paired conjunctions. Those will help your score, okay? Let's see what some of you have written up. Jenna Tool, name Nipa, says the number of sales plummeted from 75,000 in 2000 to 65,000. That sounds like a line graph, okay? All right, let's see. Tainder says, I missed that one. All right. Chino So says, unfortunately, branch 2 had the lowest sales for both years and also had a decline in the later year. Chinon So, Teklar, that's good. That's a great way to report that, okay? It's nice human language. Murasa says, on the other hand, branch 2 shows the lowest sales rate, which plummeted by 75% in both years. I don't think that's accurate, Murasa. There isn't a change of 75%. The change, if we really are curious, is about 10,000 books, which is roughly a 15% change if we want to do that. But we don't need to start doing that kind of math. So we don't actually have to calculate the rate or the percent change, okay? There's no point to doing that. All right. Jubilant, you said I said line graph, but I said bar graph here, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. Anyhow, let's go now to point number 4. For point number 4, let's do this one, ladies and gents. So let's compare the similarities between branch 4 and branch 5. Okay? Let's see how you do that. Okay, let's see how you compare branch 4 and branch 5. That's what I would do for my point number 4. Okay? Oh, you're saying that I wrote that in the overview. Yeah, okay. Thanks for that. Now, you obviously can't do this in the IELTS, and you won't make this mistake in the IELTS because you're writing with pen and paper. Here we go. Thanks for that correction. Maybe that's what you're trying to say to me, Jubilant. Okay, so here we go. Bam. There we go. Now it's in the right place. All right, let's see your comparisons. So, Dotmail says, interestingly, branch 4 and branch 5 shared the same number of books sold in 2001. Good. Now continue that, Dotmail. So, however, in 2000, and then finish that sentence, and then you're doing good. Okay? Baljit says, by looking at branch 4 and 5, there was no difference in the sales in 2001. They both had a record of 95,000 books. Sure. And then again, Baljit, however, in 2000, so finish the idea, especially if you still have time on the IELTS, right? That will get you some more points to have those comparisons. Naveen says, on the other hand, branch 4 and 5 had shown a difference of 10,000 and 20,000 respectively over the given period. I'm not a little bit confused by that one, Naveen. There was a 10,000 difference in 2000, but no difference in 2001. Okay, so a few different ways to report that. All right, so here we go. Again, we're looking at these two. We're comparing their equal sales and their difference in sales. So branch 5 had a bigger jump, obviously, than branch 4 in 2001. So let's report that. Okay, again, you're doing a good job. There are different ways to do this. So branch 4 and 5, don't be wordy in IELTS. So when you're writing task 1 and writing task 2, don't use extra or unnecessary words. Those do not get you marks. If anything, redundant words or using a lot of unnecessary words will actually decrease your score, okay? So careful not to do that, okay? So branch 4 and 5 had comparable sales in both years. And then in 2001, they both recorded 95,000 books. And in 2000, branch 4 outperformed or outsold branch 5 by 10,000 books. Okay, so that could be another way to do it. Branch 4 and 5 had comparable sales in both years, missing word there. Had comparable sales in both years. In 2001, missing letter there. They both recorded, you don't need the word both there. And this is what you want to do at home, is when you're reviewing your work, take out extra words, fill in missing letters or words. They recorded 95,000 books each. And in 2000, each just makes it more clear. And in 2000, branch 4 outsold branch 5 by 10,000 books. Okay, so that is the comparison there. Let's see what you wrote up there. So Faruza says there is a 10,000 book difference in 2000 between branch 4 and 5. However, in 2001, they have the same number of sales at 95,000. So Faruza, I made some corrections there. Otherwise, the right idea. You have the right approach, and it's not bad. Okay, even your original is not bad. Chinonso says branch 4 and 5 had almost the same level of sales in both years, although branch 5 had a lower sale in 2001. Chinonso, that's great. Okay, you're using human language. We don't need to put those 95,000 and 100,000 in there. That's good. Okay, I like it. Nicely done. All right, so then we have one last piece of information. It's this one here. If we don't talk about branch 6, it's not the end of the world. It's kind of insignificant information. We already have lots of words. But hey, if you're confident, you know you still have time, you can say branch 6 also had the second lowest sales, although it did show, or it did increase in performance. So I'm not writing sales all the time, from 2000 to 2001. Okay, and that's all I need to do with that. So simple sentence, branch 6 had the second lowest sales, although it did increase in performance from 2000 to 2001. That's all, okay? We don't need more. If you don't get this sentence in there, it's not the end of the world. You can probably still get even a 9, just because that's not really significant information compared to the other branches. All right, so now you can finish your essay there. If you're done here, then you can get a good score. Let's see how many words we have. What do you think? What's your estimate, girls and guys? What's our word count here? Let's see. There we go. Okay, so far, if I take out these words here, Of course, you're not going to write body analysis first, mark your points. We have, no, Jeffrey, not even close. So we have about 195 words, okay? So until this point, we have 190 words, okay, roughly. Is that too many? Not if you're going for a band 9. Okay, if you're going for a band 9, you would want to reach that word count and you would want to have all of this information in there. That's how you get a band 9. Remember, it's 150 words minimum. This is 195. You're only 45 words over the minimum. That's only an extra 2-3 sentences. Okay, it's not a lot. All right. So, all right, now if you want to be that extra gold star diamond class student that says, hey, if there was such a thing as a band 10, I want to get a band 10, then you could do that by including a summary as well. So, in summary, it is clear that this publishing company sales in branches is performing well, as there is improvement in 5 of 6 branches. All right. So you could write a summary like that just to say, hey, look, I really know what's going on here and I can tell you a little bit of a message. But it's not necessary. If you put this in, now you're probably at about, that's an extra, what, 20 words or so. So you're at about 215 words. That's fine, okay? Shuk Singh, yes. So again, so many students are so confused by this, but it's really important that you understand the task says minimum 150 words. That means at least 150 words. So if you're writing between 150 to 200 words, then you're on the right track, okay? If you've written 200 words of good quality writing in the 20 minutes, excellent, good for you, okay? Naveen says, to sum up, in 2001, the sales overall recorded higher than the previous years. Perfect, Naveen, that's a great way to summarize as well, okay? Yeah, absolutely, Rahman Abdul, that's correct. So I'm showing, you know, what you need to do for bands 8 and 9. So for those higher band scores. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so again, that's our class for today. That's task 1. That's how you do a bar graph, overview, analysis, summary. Make sure to practice that at home. Join our courses. If you're studying for academic IELTS, look for this website. It's aehelp.com. And if you're studying for general IELTS, look for this website. This is generalieltshelp.com. We have videos here, just like what you saw, but actually much better. They're HD and bright. They're not live classes, but it's for task 1. So you have task 1 video. It's here for letter writing, okay, how to write a letter for task 1. And then if you're searching for graphs and charts and pie charts and diagrams and maps, we have lots of videos on this website here, so join us there. Thank you so much, students. You've been wonderful today. Great participation. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Much love to all of you. Again, I want to remind you, you all have beautiful brains. They are supercomputers in their own rights. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Study hard. You will reach your dreams. You will be happy, and you will be successful. So keep it up. Keep up the good fight. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye for now.